was freaking out because this is me, got this one, I was like,
We can save them,
what's going on
we
here?
can save them 30 minutes.
I wonder what is.
Julie, probably just,
Yeah.
no.
Her way.
Did you get one in the mail? Yeah. Oh, did you?
You gotta kibosh that. Because he emails it to us. So why would you?
Oh, I don't mind having any paper.
Yeah, we don't need, we're talking about saving the clerk the time.
Well, obviously she took it upon herself to do it.
Okay. Which is nice.
Did you get an email too? Yeah.
And I didn't get one in the mail, so I feel bad.
I always get the email from Jeff. Is he good? I did it. Did you do it?
Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they print everything, it's just the minutes and the agenda.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh.
I'm doing the same thing.
Well, I got it in an envelope, I was like, okay, what are they changing for our planning meeting on Friday? Because that's usually.
Rob, why you get it, right?
Yeah.
All right. We will bring this meeting of the Aviation Committee to order on September 6th at 8 a.m. Thank you all for coming again, appreciate it. First item, approved minutes of August 9th, 2023.
Move to approve the minutes of August 9th, 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any corrections, additions, discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
And Betsy is excused. Item 2, public comment on agenda items or any item under the jurisdiction of this committee. Anybody in our audience have anything they'd like to speak on right now? Or you can speak when. Anybody have anything? Okay. Director's report, item 3. East GA hangar project update. Jim?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I did include in your packet a few photos taken on August 30th of the project site, which kind of shows the progress to date as of about a week ago. So kind of where we're at right now on the westernmost building, the roof is complete. They have hung all the door metal as far as the framing goes for each of the bifold doors for each hangar unit. The east building, they've got 50 or 60% of the roofing complete. I believe they're waiting on materials right now for the finishing of the east building roof, which is slowing them down just a little bit. They also, I believe, have all the doors hung on the east building as well. And on both buildings, they are starting to work on kind of building out the rest of those doors, insulation and all the metal cladding that goes on them. They've got, I believe, most of, if not all, their motors delivered now for the electric bifold doors. They're starting to work on installation of those motor units in each hangar bay. And after kind of all that's complete, the ongoing work, I believe they have about 4 to 6 weeks of primarily electrical work and conduit work for heating units that go into the building and all that. We did get an estimate from, or update from our building contractor yesterday at the meeting, and they have given us a date of November 30th now for completion. They have had a few delays on materials getting on site. They did not work for about 10 days surrounding intervention, unfortunately, which we were hoping they would. But that being said, they do have time left in their contract to complete, so they won't be going over if they complete by November 30th. That being said, we'd like to see them be done sooner. I'm kind of pushing for that as best we can. We can't do anything to help the materials show up any faster, so I think there's a lot of construction projects these days which are facing supply chain issues and those sort of things, and just kind of the situation that we're in right now. So Cameron did send out an email to all of our future tenants for the new hangars, I believe yesterday, and notified them of the update from the contractor, although we are hopeful, kind of given, looking at, best case scenario, we can have the hangars open by mid-November. But worst case scenario, we're looking at the end of November. That being said, happy to answer any questions about the hangar project.
So I got the feeling we could have something being empty, that new building being empty all winter, but we're thinking not. That people will still make that move, weather dependent.
We have 20 signed leases back, I believe. Cameron working on the insurance requirements being fulfilled for all those, and then securing the first month's deposit as we speak. So while that may change, between having the hangars open by mid-October or the end of November, that may change someone's mindset, but I doubt it's going to change more than one or two. They're the only heated hangars we offer now on the airport, and along with that, folks are very excited for the hangar space. I think most of them are. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed up for one, especially once they give us their first month's deposit. That's non-refundable. So at least have some skin in the game. We're communicating with them as best we can about the contractor's timelines. We do have a pretty good sized waiting list that we can go through if something goes back out. So I'm not concerned about having an empty hangar unit after they're open.
So everybody's excited to still get these new hangars. And if they're coming from another hangar, do you think you can fill those and that those won't sit empty for the winter? That there's people, if you called them and said, hey, this number in this building is available. Would you like it? It's yours because you're on the waiting list. They'll grab it.
Absolutely.
Because you've been waiting.
Right. So Kim's been going through and talking to everybody going down the waiting list for the spots that were available in the new hangars. And I think there's a number of folks that, just because of the price of the new hangars, have said, okay, maybe we're going to wait until we can backfill one of the existing spaces that gets vacated. And a lot of the folks that are going to the new hangars are tenants that are vacating the hangar that they're in now. So the folks that are doing that, they really are just going to stay in their hangar they're in now until they go to the new hangar. There are some folks that are acquiring an aircraft, so in the process of that, that might, mean if they are in the process of acquiring an aircraft, it may need to be on the ramp tied down until they get in the hangar, but or at another airport. So that being the case for a few of them, I think ultimately this day and age, construction projects, logistical issues with supply chain, I think it's understandable that we're looking at in the November completion date.
Okay, good. That was my question. Do you guys have any?
It's just cool to see the difference from after our last meeting. We took I went out with you after the meeting to go take a look at them and then seeing how much they actually accomplished in that month. And then you said November 30th. I'm like, geez, they jumped just like head and shoulders the last 30 days.
Yeah. They've been waiting at times for materials to get on site. And so that's probably the biggest slowdown. That, and if they had worked for the 10 days of their venture, we'd be that much closer to completion as well.
Item B, aviation park development.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I touched on this a little bit last month, given our efforts during AirVenture at the exhibit hall booth that we co-shared with GoEDC, the city, the Chamber, and the Visitors Bureau. We have been in the process of scheduling a full debriefing meeting with GoEDC and our business park partners. I've had some scheduling conflicts in the last few weeks, budget together and all the things that we've been doing in August, cleaning up the airfield, getting everything kind of set there to be back to normal. So we're still working on that. We'll hopefully have that here in the next couple of weeks. We have a number of prospects that we talked to during the event, during our venture, that we've already had some follow-up conversations with. So I think it's a matter of getting the whole team together, because it really is a team effort now in the development of the business park. It's not just the airport pushing it, it's GoEDC, it's the city. And so we need to get back in kind of all on the same page of what we did as far as progress during our venture, who's left to follow up with. And then also kind of backing up a little bit, we sent out our first round of boxes, the promotional premium boxes, back in the April timeframe. We sent out about a dozen. We followed up with the folks that we sent those out to, and now we're kind of looking at one of the things I think we'll talk about in the debrief meeting is that who is on our list that has shown a little bit more interest that we may want to send the second box out to, trying to keep that conversation going. And then also, who have we identified new that would be a good prospect to send the first box out to? Another thing that we've been working on for some time is a site selectors list. In order to send the first round boxes out to a site selectors list, we haven't done that yet. That'll be another agenda item on our debrief meeting. And then the last piece is that staff is scheduled to go to NBAA, it's the National Business Aviation Association Convention in October. That is another cross-section of our target markets that really, there's sort of 3 events that we've been focusing on the last couple of years. And actually last year we did not go to NBAA just for budgetary reasons. But this year, our focus again is on MRO Maintenance Repair and Overhaul Convention, which we went to in April, then AirVenture and having our booth presence there, and then NBAA in October. And so Kim and Cameron are going there in October because I can't make it due to scheduling. And we're right now in the process of going through all the exhibitors and attendees for NBAA and rank and filing them of who's our targeted list, kind of like we do with MRO. We walk the convention center for all of these, except for the last thing we're going to talk about, which is next year. But we walk the convention center, we pound the pavement, and it's like 900 exhibitors at both of these MRO, all 3 of them, really. MRO, AirVenture, and NBAA. So there's a lot of ground to cover. We can't have 900 conversations, obviously, in 2 days. But at the same time, we really try to focus our effort on the quality prospects and connecting with them and reconnecting with them and knowing who they are. So we're in the process of putting that list together on the targeted companies that we'd like to meet with during NBAA. Excuse me. And then the final one, we're already starting our preparations. We tried to get a little bit further during this summer before AirVenture, but then, of course, some things got in the way of the planning process for this. But we're already looking to be in an exhibit space for MRO Americas next year, which is in Chicago. So we won't have to fly there. We'll be nice to be able to drive and bring all of our materials and the vehicle down there. It'll be a lot simpler logistically. We are looking at co-hosting a booth with another, I don't want to spoil it, but once we have an agreement in place with this company, looking at co-hosting a booth with another Wisconsin-based company that is very much focused on the aviation sector. And we made some good connections. Kim and I were at MRO this last year with that company. So until we have something kind of finalized with them, I'd like to keep that under wraps a little bit, but they're one of the industries that are the business focused on is aviation. And being both Wisconsin-based entities, I think we have a pretty good creative way to get people's attention and have an actual physical presence at one of these conventions, which can be very important. We heard that over and over again. When we were at MRO in April, from airports that were there, we visited with probably 10 or 11 airports that were exhibiting, and they said, the amount of traffic they get just from having a physical presence has been worth it for them at the MRO convention. I'm not sure we'll do that at NBAA in the near future, but depending on how this one goes, we may. So that's kind of where we're at on aviation business park development.
Any questions, comments?
I'm kind of curious, what would be a cool number of people that add to businesses? Like one, or we'll get one in the next 10 years, or one?
Well, we're hoping to get 1 or 2 in the next 1 or 2 years.
Okay, and then that would be good, or each year?
Depends on the size of the development. We have 50 acres to offer of county-owned land, 30 acres to city side. So if
One guy might want all 50 and then it's done.
it's potential. Yeah, I mean, it could be one company taking 10 acres and another company taking another 10 acres. And we have almost half of our land developed on the west side. So it's a matter of finding the right fit for us and that company that wants to do business in the Midwest. Some of them aren't doing any business in the Midwest, some of them are, depending on sort of their network of their locations. Some of them make sense for us, some of them don't. If they've got a location 2 hours down the road, it might make sense for not in Oshkosh, but that helps everybody out. But it's about finding the right fit, because we talk all day long with people that are like, yeah, we're in Fort Lauderdale, we're in Miami, we like it down here, it doesn't snow. We do that a lot. I mean, it's like, yeah, Oshkosh, where it's 75 and sunny every day. Well, of course, that's why a lot of their work for some of these companies gets done inside a hangar. So it's a matter of, well, do you have a hangar to offer? No, we don't have a hangar to offer. We have land, and we have these incentives, and for the right company, we may look at a package of a sort of build. So I think anything's on the table as far as what we talked about.
I was just curious, when you're constructing your list, is your list just perfect fits, or do you have some on that you like say, hey, here's this handful that we're gonna shoot for the moon for, and hopefully we can convince them to come in here, because that name will bring other people in.
It's a variety. We just pared down prior to AirVenture, we pared down our master list from like 600 down to about 400 of the whole list that we've been working on for the last few years, mainly because a lot of those 600 from a few years ago no longer work with those companies. There's a lot of bounce back emails when we send out these email blasts. So we tried to clean that up. We did a lot of cleaning up this year on the master list, but that list from, okay, here's the prospects we met at MRO, AirVenture, MBAA from each year going back, kind of highlighted when we met with them, who they were, got the contact information for these folks, and then say, okay, try to color code them as like, this is we've made contact with them and it's probably not going anywhere, or we've made contact with them and it deserves future follow-up or future consideration. So we've got a pretty good mix of companies. We started with, instead of a list of 600, added to that list, and then we've also subtracted just from the context that no longer work with those companies. And we try to find, if that's a company that's still on the radar, we always try to find, okay, who's the best person to talk to now? That person's level.
Anything else? No? Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Item 4, discuss and approve a ground lease agreement between ODL Investments LLC and Winnebago County. Cameron?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. This is a land lease that was held by Lee Beverage for the last 18 to 20 years. They own their own 50 by 65 privately owned hangar. It's over on the east side near the new hangar development. It shares the same taxi lane as one of our new hangars. And Lee Beverage is selling the hangar to ODL Investments LLC. And upon approval of this lease, this ground lease, Lee Beverage will be terminating their ground lease. The ground lease is 6,000 square feet. That's about 1,500 more than Lee Beverage's. We've standardized all of our leases to include a 5-foot buffer around the hangar and then the private apron. We've gone over this before, some other land leases that we've renewed, so we made sure this was up to speed on our current standard. And ODL Investments was fine with that. We're going to start the ground lease at 19 cents per square foot per year, which is the ordinance rate. And like all of our other land leases, it'll be adjusted to the CPIU every 3 years. We're setting a 20-year lease term. The hangar's in good condition, and ODL Investments plans on painting it a more modern color, actually to match the new hangars that we're building, so it'll look nice over there and all kind of standardized. I'm not trying to commit him to it, but he did say he intends to do that. Ground lease is $1,140 per year, as I said, with the adjustments every 3 years. Our requested action is the approval of the ground lease between ODL Investments LLC and Winnebago County.
So we need a motion to
So
approve
moved.
this lease. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion from the committee? Any questions?
I just have one question, it's kind of a bit off the path. Is Lee finished forever, or are they gonna possibly look at some other part and downsize, or I don't know?
They sent us a letter and they didn't indicate what their future plans were. They had not talked about that.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but in the last few years, they've scaled back their flying operations. They used to have a King Air based out of that hangar. They haven't had that there in a while now. It's being managed by actually Max Air, which is the sister company of Mac Air. So it's just not out of the realm of possibility. And then if I think they
I was just curious if you heard, if they're like, at this time we're cutting back, but or maybe in the future will be.
It's very possible.
So, not too much background. How did the new tenant to be find out about this?
The new tenant is friends with the old tenant, and so the new tenant is one of our hangar tenants in one of the D hangars. So I haven't asked him yet, but I assume he'll be giving up the D hangar that he has. That'll open up.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Like upward mobility.
Everybody's doing that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve ground lease between ODL Investments LLC and Winnebago County. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you, Cameron. Operations and maintenance report, item 5, Jason.
Morning, so over the last month, what we've worked on is getting the airfield painting completed for the year. We worked on Taxiway Bravo, the enhanced center lines, Taxiway Gulf, and then the DNR ramp after it was finished being seal coated. We had to wait 30 days and then finish the painting on that. We've been doing the normal mowing around the airfield, and lastly, the accident site on the south side of the airfield where that mid-air collision happened. We had some foam that was sprayed from the fire trucks that had to be remediated, so the environmental company finished up that last week. And the last of the contaminated soil was hauled away, and the accident site was restored in landscape, so that's all. I guess back to normal as it could be. Seasonals, we had 2 seasonal employees leave. We have 1 left, and then the open position that we have 7 applications we're going through, and then we'll see if any others have come through in the last week. And probably go from there and hiring an additional full-time maintenance worker. That's all I have.
Do you have a lot of applicants within the line for that?
I believe 1.
Anybody knows anybody looking for work, it's not too late, so we're hiring. It's a good position, good benefits, county's a great
I'd be
organization.
happy to share the banner with you, we're the same.
Cody?
Thanks for following up on the accident, the remediation. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the risks, like what would happen if that foam wasn't remediated, and then if you could tell us a little bit about like the costs associated with that, and where who bears that.
Well, the risk would be if it enters the waterway, then you have the PFAS, which is what they're considering a forever chemical that would be in the water.
Okay, that's like, so like lead in the water, it's like really bad to drink or whatever.
I'm not that knowledgeable on what PFAS does, but I know.
But it's a risk to people.
Yes.
Put it this way, there's a class action lawsuit about firefighters because of the AFFF stuff, giving them cancer. So, yeah.
In 2019, the state passed legislation that basically considers it a hazardous substance. There's a whole laundry list of things that we, as airports, who are mandated still by the FAA to use this foam, have to do in order to remediate it if used in a life safety event. It's no longer allowed to be used old methodology for testing the foam was to just discharge it out into the environment and test a sample of it. We don't do that anymore. Not allowed to do that anymore, and so we don't. But at the same time, there is no alternative at present. The FAA is getting very close, lately, certifying an alternative, what they call fluorine-free foam, and actually say fluorine-free firefighting foam. They've been working on that for the better part of a decade. That said, we do have to remediate it. This is actually the first case that we've had to do since the new legislation came out of remediation. And so I think our first plan of attack is to go after the insurance company of the aircraft, or multiple aircraft in this case, that the accident, and kind of go backwards from there. I think commercial service airports have the ability, a little bit more financial ability to do this, and then their plan of attack is typically, especially with an airline, to go after American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines. In the unfortunate event should that happen. But if it's not, if it's a private operator, a corporate or a charter or a private individual, first off, it's nice if they have insurance. Second off, if they don't, we have to kind of come up with a plan B. So,
And then ballpark, do you know what it costs to do the remediation? I mean, I know it's obviously gonna be different every time you need to, you know, spray the chemical based on how far it goes and everything,
Yeah.
but for this one ballpark?
So there's a number of things. We sat down actually with, it's called Valley Environmental, environmental contractor that specializes in this now. It's pretty local here. We sat down and they gave us a whole laundry list of things, kind of a checklist of things. If we have to expel the foam, discharge the foam, here are the things we have to do to contain it. And on the day of the accident, our staff was down there doing an excellent job, especially for the first time we've had to do it, of containing it, because in this case, it was discharged where the aircraft came down in drainage ditch, which collects water and water flows the way it flows. But in order to make sure that it doesn't escape the site, we're going to put down plastic with sand, right? On either end of it to kind of create a
Containment area.
Temporary retention pond.
right. I'm looking for the technical terms, but they did an excellent job of containing it. We've been in contact with Valley Environmental and through them, the DNR, for the better part of over a month now, ensuring that it's handled properly, the cost of which is not that inexpensive. But it depends, each one depends on how far, so if that foam were able to leave the site, you know, if it rains hard the next day and leave the site and we did nothing to contain it, it would be a whole lot more expensive to remediate. What's the total number from Valley?
Well, the initial quote was at $42,000. And some of the high cost is due to the soil is only being accepted at one waste management facility, and that's in the state of Oregon. So when they deliver the soil container, it's an intermodal container. They drop that off, they remediate the site, and the contaminated soil goes into this shipping container, basically. It's about half the size of a shipping container. And then they pick that up, they take it up north to Marinette, I believe, and then it gets put on a train and then hauled out to the state of Oregon. The water portion of it, which comes from the site, as well as purging the fire truck after it's been charged with foam. The water is contained into containers, and that ended up being less than we were quoted and expected. And then that's hauled off by LRI Recycling Company. I'm not sure what they do with it, but they're the authorized place to dispose of it. So they said that it's going to be less than what we were quoted, just due to the, I think it was 600 gallons less of water than they were expecting. So it'll be hopefully less than the 42,000 that they quoted.
Yeah, it's important to note that it's not just the dirt that we had to remediate, it's the fire truck as well, because we don't want to push more water through the lines that have the PFAS in it, so that had to be cleaned out. That water that was used to clean it has to be treated.
Thank you, appreciate the extra detail, appreciate all the diligent work. Sounds like could go awry really quickly, and appreciate it, all the effort that went into dealing with that situation.
I think we held a meeting with Valley before AirVenture, and that definitely helped out for educating all of us on what to do in the event something like this were to happen, and then it did happen. So it was pretty fresh in our minds on how to contain all this right away.
So is it technically done then, or do you have to do like a monitoring valve?
According to the DNR, it's complete. And then they coordinate with Valley Environmental, who takes samples. They were taking samples out there as they were remediating. There was a small amount of fuel that they remediated as well. And so they've been doing all the coordinating with the DNR.
And as I understood it, you were required to use the foam.
The aircraft was fully engulfed in flames, and
Right.
yeah, so yes.
Thanks.
So you said they take away a container of dirt, so then we had to replace that dirt?
Right, yeah, that was also included. The landscape and restoration of the site was included in the quote as well.
Here's all your details. Perfect.
Very good information, thank you.
All right. Do you have anything else?
I know that's it, thanks.
Yes. Item 6, EAA report. So Sean Elliott is here and Jim Bush.
Yeah, well, thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee staff. Really nothing new to report. We did share with you last month that already started our planning for 2024. But I do want to thank Jim and the team. I didn't just discuss the issues of the accident. We met here just a week and a half ago and investigated the FAA as part of the process on that accident. And they were very, very complimentary on the overall response, how the site was contained, reaction by Jim and the team, as well as our team security team, as far as the overall handling of the site. So it shows good partnership, and we had an incredible year. Obviously, we can't, places we've never camped before, we park airplanes in places we've never parked before. So we're continuing to see a trajectory of greater and greater advances. Thanks for the partnership.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Jim, did you have anything?
Thank you. Anybody have anything?
Other than we had our budget meeting yesterday, County Executive, Director of Administration, Finance, and Carol, Finance, she's ace. And the one thing I can note is a couple of things. We didn't have too much flack, but Jim was so prepared to come in there and do, we had to rearrange some stuff on fringes and such, but nothing was, there were questions, but not a lot of questions. And it should go through as it is, but whether you like this or not, and I know people do or don't, we have the intern in again for next year. Because I think Nicolette was a good intern, so we're basing that on that same premises. She got a lot done while she was here, and then Jen made mention that she did get a job. What did you say, in
Vermont.
Vermont? Yes. So I think whoever hires her will be good looking. So that intern will be same kind of situation, housing and everything that.
Between pay and housing, it's about that, about 11,000.
So I think it's a good experience for the person, and it's a good experience for this airport to have something. That's,
Madam Chair, or maybe this is part of the next one, but last year in September, we had a budget preview. Will we be able to do that next month?
Yes, so I have a few things to add. Anything else? Okay. So one of the things on next month's agenda will be an overview of our proposed budget before it goes to the board, so you can see that ahead of time. I don't know exactly when the dates are yet for the budget hearings.
It's like the 30th, starts the 30th of October.
Okay, so we got a good amount of time before that, so you'll be able to see it up front. Right now, based upon our meeting yesterday, our levy amount is projected to go up about $50,000. With the wage study that was done and the compensation increases that happened, we this year we had about an increase of about $83,000 increase in wages and fringes for next year budgeted. So we were able to absorb some of that with the revenue that we're bringing in. We also had our standard increase on our stormwater fees for the city, which is always a chunk of change that we have to account for. So with those things being well over $100,000 between the two, the fact that we're only increasing the levy or proposing at this point in time, $150,000 increase over what we had last year, or excuse me, this year, I think we're doing pretty good. We have included a couple of pieces, or one piece of equipment proposed for replacement. So we're trying to continually modernize our equipment fleet. It's one piece at a time each year. So we've included things, not only that, but some I don't want to spoil too much of the budget for next month. So other things to improve the airfield and some of our other facilities, hangar facilities on the airfield, that we can handle within our operating budget, which I do that every single year. So I appreciate Mary Beth coming. The meeting yesterday was a very, very good meeting. I'll give a full update on the proposed budget next month. I've got a few other things. One of them would be the tower project that we've got the bill grant for. I'll have a little bit more detail on that probably by next month. I know I can give you a good update there. And then also the chiller replacement, which just got started as far as that process goes for the control tower. One of the other things to update is that we had another issue with the control tower and air conditioning on Labor Day, and Jason was making a lot of across the facilities very early in the morning on Monday, because it was approaching 90 degrees in there right away in the morning, the tower cab, and they were threatening to take clothes off, and nobody wants to see that. So luckily, they're only up there with themselves. But all joking aside, we've had a lot of issues with the air conditioning in the tower, and that's why it's been on the radar now for a while to do the chiller replacement. We're in the process of that. We just need to make it through the rest of the hot days, and then hopefully we'll have a chiller by late spring or the summer next year. All the lead times that it takes to get that done. And then I've got two other things.
Okay.
I've been kind of remiss in not mentioning this until now, but September 20th through the 22nd, we're hosting up in Appleton, Wisconsin Aviation Conference, which is hosted by the Wisconsin Airport Management Association, which I'm on the board of. We do have some money left in our registration budget. If I would say two of the committee members are interested in attending one of the days. Thursday, the 21st, is probably the best day to attend. There's an airport board member roundtable. I think it's at 1 p.m., which is something fairly new for WAMA. Usually we had a commercial service roundtable with airport managers and a GA roundtable. In recent, I think last year's the first year we included an airport board member roundtable. So I think it's a very beneficial session for a couple of you to attend if you're able to. But September 21st and the 22nd are the primary days of the conference. 21st is a full day and the 22nd is a half day in the morning. And it's up in Appleton, so it's a very good spot. So I'd like to offer up, I don't know if I answer right now, but I'd like to offer up the ability for, I think up to two of you also, so we don't have any quorum issues, to attend the conference, if you'd like to. So get with me after the meeting or anytime within the next couple of days, let's say, if you'd like to attend. The other item I'd like to mention is September 16th, so not this Saturday, but next Saturday, we're hosting the EA Chapter 252 Pancake Breakfast in Young Valley right here. And so I think there's still open sign up if you know any young folks that are between the ages of 8 and 17, 8 and 18. I don't know if there's still open slots, but if you'd like more information on that, we can certainly get you that. But pancake breakfast on the 16th. So if nothing else, hopefully you're hungry that morning and you'd like to eat pancakes. That's all I have.
Also, I just note September 21st is a Parkview Committee meeting. I'm sure if you wanted to skip, you certainly could.
Right now.
But that'll take me out of it, so I don't want you guys to feel, you guys can jump into that opportunity because I won't be.
Well, since you won't be there.
Moving on, committee member statements, suggestions, items for future agenda. Do we have anything that we haven't mentioned so far?
Set next meeting date, when in October are you guys? Will that affect our,
No. It's later.
later than that? So what's Wednesday?
October 4th.
You good with October 4th? I need a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourned.
Second.
Motion is made, second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.